I hate to be the one to break this news because I had hoped the situation would get better, but yeah, we've got a crisis right now on our hands. Though there are some good things that can come out of this, to be honest, but first, I think we got to go through this kind of bad time. I wasn't planning on live streaming today, as most who are on my channel might have already seen. The live stream that we were going to have was going to be, you probably hear some echo over here, was going to be on Friday. But this is just an emergency live stream, very separate from that one. Let me see if I can mute the desktop audio. Hello. I'm just gonna have to. Okay, just mute my desktop. But can you still hear me? Hello, hello, hello. I think now I should be able to not have echo because I just lowered the volume on my computer. But yeah, we got some things to talk about with what has happened today, and this was really unexpected. Like, I guess not exactly unexpected. I kind of had already the chance to talk to some people, my parents included, my coworkers, because I actually went to work and they sent me back home because my work started at around 3 and they were like, no, go back home because there's no one's coming. The students' parents were calling the academy telling us, we're not coming, we can't go, it's dangerous, the whole situation. So this is influenced very quickly, and it's unfortunate that this is the effect. But I also think that it's gonna happen. Like, it was inevitable considering what we're trying to accomplish here in Ecuador. That's why I'm saying there's a positive to all of this. Just we're gonna have to go through a bit of a negative. And Jacko, Michael, hello, and yes, thank you. I'm glad you guys can hear me, and there's probably, hopefully, no echo. But yeah, this is the situation at hand. What I can tell you, and considering this isn't even what's happening in the city that it's actually happening in, because like you might have seen the post that I made in my community tab, the television station was actually attacked, and we can see it here in the article. There were hooded gunmen that burst onto a TV set, a live TV set, which was TC News here in Ecuador, which is located in Guayaquil. So the fact that it's happening in Guayaquil, you would think it might not influence the whole country, but it actually is, because over here everyone's already rushing to go home. When I went out on the street, and there were already a whole bunch of vehicles that were going all over the place, and everyone was just panicking. So awesome. No echo. Thank you, Boyd. Papicho, how's it going? There's a state of emergency because there were some hooded gunmen, like you see in the article, criminales. They went in and they assaulted the TV station while it was live. And it was live on the news for a while, like what was the process of what was happening, even in the process of the police going in and trying to, stop the whole conflict. And apparently it's already been, it's not resolved, but there's the police already taking action, and they already arrested some people from what I saw. Boy, do you feel there will be an El Salvador-style crackdown on civil liberties for the sake of safety? I actually was watching the news on the TV earlier, and I saw that they showed the inside of the jail, and not just the news. There was a video that was posted by the government, the Ecuadorian government, that when I saw the videos about El Salvador, how they had the people on the floor and they had shaved their heads, there was a similar video here in Ecuador, and the president was saying, we're not going to give up the country to terrorists. We're not going to let this continue happening. We're doing this for the safety of the Ecuadorian population. And, it's crazy stuff. Living, loving abroad. What's up, brother? Steve, man, it is horrible news, and I'm glad that they were captured. But it's still, I guess you could say, a conflict in process, a situation in process, because they're even right now, the streets or if there's anyone on the street that looks suspicious, the military is authorized to take action, which basically means that now the military can actually shoot to more than just harm people who look like they're doing something wrong. And obviously, it's not just, oh, they're just walking around and no, that's a problem. But if someone looks to take the life of someone else or do something that's not okay, then now the military and the police actually have the authority to do something about it, which is about time, because I think a lot of people complain, myself included, because the police don't do anything, and we have a military that they're getting paid while we're not at war, and that's normal because you need to have a military, but it's like they could be doing something to help the safety of the population. So now with the military able to take action and do more than just exist, there's a good chance that things could get better. So yeah, right now I just wanted to inform everyone what the situation was like, talk a little bit, maybe answer some questions if you have any, but the situation is bad. I mean, for people to be over here in a city that has nothing to do with the city where this is actually happening, for people to be panicking over here, it means that the situation in the country is bad. How does this affect tourism from visitors from other countries? I mean, think about it. As a tourist, you come here and like right now, there's the restriction of the military. If you don't look suspicious, obviously you should be just fine. And touristic sites should be okay. What you're gonna notice is a lot of military presence. And because of the situation, my concern for a tourist isn't so much from the government. It's more a situation that I'd be worried about if since the criminals are trying to, this is like their last ditch effort, like kind of like they're struggling to keep their power while they're still here. And they're trying to see if as usual, if the Ecuadorian government just kind of, backs off. And hello, Daniel. Oh, by the way, I didn't say hi, David and Daniel, sorry. But they're kind of just like trying to see if the government is going to let them do what they want again. And because they're threatening everyone. And that's terrible because some people were already killed in these threats. So this is their last ditch effort. And in order for them to show that they're serious, they talked about setting up car bombs, that they were going to kill people at the jails, because even at the jails, they have like some power, a lot of power, which it doesn't make sense, but it does make sense in the sense that the person who escaped, the criminal, apparently escaped because someone from the jail let him escape. So it's basically now they're just trying to they're trying to find this guy. And that's why yesterday we had the curfew that started and is going to go on for 60 days. People aren't happy about that, but we can talk about that later if you want. And now because this guy escaped, and now with this situation, it's a little bit more affecting everyone in the country. Now we're at the next level, which is the state of emergency, and which is probably why people are panicking. I mean, if they have the balls to go attack not a police station, a news station, then what could happen to normal average citizens? Oh, hey, you're out on the street and you don't know that your car has a bomb in it because these guys are just, setting up bombs all over the place. You just never know. So people are kind of panicking. And this incident, the one with the TC, happened in Guayaquil, because that's where the TC set is, as you can see here. Live television image broadcast on Tuesday showed hooded people inside Ecuador's TC television station in Guayaquil, some of whom were seen waving guns, like I showed in my thumbnail. They were seen telling staff to lie down on the floor as shots and yelling were heard in the background. So, and like it says there, the incident comes amid the kidnappings of at least 7 police officers and a series of explosions the day after Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa declared a state of emergency. So the guy, the gang leader, is known as Fito. Here, everyone knows that the gang leader, alias Fito, is the most dangerous gang member here in Ecuador. So, people are kind of concerned with the situation. Let's see here. And so as you can see, this is right now happening in Guayaquil. For everyone who keeps telling me Guayaquil can be safe, it can also be dangerous. Keep that in mind. And it goes for the whole country, because like I said, over here where I'm at in the coast in Puerto Viejo, there's still the concerns from people. That's why everyone's going home. You don't want to be out on the street if there could be one guy setting up a bomb in your car and you don't even know about it. Sarah, hello. Thank you so much for talking about this. My husband is from Ecuador, watching what's happening and speaking to family back home, so he's not explaining much. Okay, that's probably, he probably doesn't want anyone to panic or be too concerned, and that makes sense. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, I hate to be the one to break this news, but like, it has to be told. We can't just act like it's not happening, because the more that we act like the situation in the country is not happening, like everything is fine, the less we do, which is why I like the fact that Noboa is taking action and doing something about it. Yesterday, people were complaining about, oh, another curfew, another state of emergency, toque de queda. But it's necessary, because this is the first step to making things change. And I hate, and once again, I hate that this has to be the way that it goes, but this is the desperate, like this whole retaliation, and that's the word that I was looking for, retaliation from the criminals, the gang members and stuff like that, is like a desperate attempt to try to just like, to see if Ecuador once again like lets them do what they want, because that's what Ecuador has been doing. They've been allowing these criminals to run free, to run rampant, to do what they want, and for things to just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point where it's just like, we've had enough. Like, people living here have had enough. I keep saying it in my videos, and I don't know if anyone's interpreted it, but like, tourism is like, people aren't going to notice when they're tourists, because they're like, they come here, you know, you have fun, you go to touristic places, and as long as you stay through a safe path, nothing happens to you. But everyone who lives here, like, you don't know what day it's going to be your car with a car bomb. You don't know what day it's going to be you getting robbed by the guy with a gun who won't take no for an answer, and even after he robs you, he decides to kill you. There was a video, and this was bad but good, in the sense that, well, I don't even know if you can call that good, but there was the guy who was setting up a bomb outside of a store, and apparently they set it up wrong and the bomb blew up in his face. It was bad, because the truth is that this does happen, and it's terrible that it happens, but good, because I guess you could say that one person who was committing a crime wasn't able to commit their crime. So, you know, there's things happening here. Jacko, my Colombian friend here in Germany just told me this morning about Fito escaping, and at first I thought it was a joke or something. What do you make of this regarding Daniel Noboa's government? It's not Daniel Noboa's fault, because this person escaped because he was finally being brought to justice. Like, finally things were actually going to happen, because the jails were actually going to be taken into control. And that's another reason why the criminals are fighting. And there was a video on X, Twitter, this morning that showed that there were the gunmen, like people hooded, like these guys, criminals. They had two guards on the floor, like tied up, and they were threatening their lives if the president didn't do something, like if the president didn't stop his whole state of emergency. But like I said, this is a desperate retaliation from the criminals to stop the president from doing what he's doing, and to stop the situation from eventually getting better. Eventually, maybe, who knows, this situation can escalate into Ecuador becoming like El Salvador. But that's what the criminals don't want, because even in what they were saying, if I remember correctly in the video, they were like, don't try to be a hero, don't try to make this like El Salvador. This isn't El Salvador. You know, stop what you're doing, leave the jails alone, because the jails is where these criminals are doing their business. And just stop what you're doing. Like, they're trying to desperately keep control of the power that they have. And some people online are throwing the blame, more than anything, not on Noboa, but on Rafael Correa for allowing these criminals to be here in the first place. I can't confirm that that's actually the case, that Rafael Correa allowed this, but I'm telling you what is being said, and people are throwing hate on Correa because he was apparently, I can't confirm this, the one who let these criminals in the country in the first place. You take that as you will, analyze it with your own criteria. You know, use critical thinking, because honestly, I'm not in this system to the point where I can tell you that that's actually the case. But seeing how the country has slowly been getting worse ever since Correa was here, like, yeah, it was good while he was here because he was keeping things under control, supposedly. But now that he's gone, who's keeping control of the situation? Supposedly. I can't confirm, but just the things that I have to tell you that are happening here and that people are talking about. So it's not Noboa's fault. Noboa's trying to fix the situation, but the criminals don't like that, and they're just fighting back. This is retaliation. Boyd, thanks for your advice, Ace. For we foreigners to reconsider, avoid traveling to Ecuador for at least the time being. Yes, like I said in my recent video of should you travel to Ecuador in 2024, this is the start of what I was saying, the reason why Ecuador is not safe and why we have to wait a little while longer to see if the situation gets better, because we're seeing the implementations of Daniel Noboa's plan, El Plan Phoenix, the Phoenix Plan. I talked about that in in the proposal video, that I talked about his proposals and all the stuff like that. And at the beginning, it's going to be tough because, like I said, there's retaliation. The criminals don't want to let go of the power because they've had things very good for a long time now. And now that they're not having it as good, they're not happy about it, of course, as no one would be. And they're trying to do something about it. So now we just have to wait and see what happens in the process. Will the situation get better? Will the situation get worse? And after January, and maybe even after February, we'll start seeing what the changes, the micro changes are like. Because I talked about this before Daniel Noboa was in power, but there's no guarantee that Daniel Noboa is going to be like the salvation immediately. Like, it's impossible for someone to be able to do everything in such a short amount of time, unless, you know, he goes insano mode. And I don't know, that kind of feels like right now what he has to do because of how bad the situation got. That's why, let me show you, he actually issued the decree, and this was the paper that shows that, where basically, just to get rid of the legal jargon, I guess, I can't even zoom in on it. It won't let me zoom in. Okay, but just to eliminate the legal jargon, like, you know, the not legal, but the stuff that doesn't make sense, this is basically permission for the military to actually take action, which is what people have been asking for a long time, for the military, for the police, to be able to actually do something to the criminals. Because it's like a child who doesn't get punished. If you don't punish the child, and I'm not saying kill them, obviously, but if you don't punish a child, they're going to keep doing bad things, or they're never going to learn. And punishment doesn't have to be severe in the case of a child, of course. I'm talking about right now in the case of these criminals who think it's okay to take the life of someone because they know that no one's going to take their life. But now that their life is in danger, maybe we'll be able to stop them from doing the things that they do. Okay, so where I was living, loving, it was crazy that on our way to the mall on the bus, everything was normal, but by the time we left, everything was closed on the way home. Yeah, it's I actually got a message from my friend earlier, Arlette, and that's how I like found out about the situation. And she messaged me, and she's like, "Estoy en panic." She's panicked. If you have to, like, well, no, for her, what she's saying, if she has to close herself off, like, you know, seal up her house, she doesn't have provisions, but at least she's with her sister and her sister's boyfriend, and they're okay, and they can help them just in case. And also the boyfriend of her other sister can help them out as well. And the situation is like that right now. People are panicking because this is a real situation. And once again, we're not even in Guayaquil. We're not even in Quito. But this is influencing us over here because you don't know where these criminals are and where they're going to decide to strike. So hopefully this is a good first step, because like I said earlier, I hate the fact that these criminals decided to take the life of someone in order to set an example, because that did happen. And I hate the fact that there's going to be retaliation. But that's just the way that things are going to be, at least until this situation ends. At least until we get rid of all the scum in the country. In Spanish, they call it escoria, but that is scum. And really, we need to get rid of these people. Accounting Tom, Happy New Year. That's why my mother-in-law didn't let me and my wife come and visit this past Xmas. She said that violence is crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy how the situation has just escalated. And to me, it's kind of also crazy how many people defended the fact that the previous government, the one that was the Rafael Correa government, was so good. But what a lot of people say, that behind the scenes of that good government was the fact that there was a lot of, you know, like I said earlier, there was a lot of people just allowing the criminals to just do what they want. and like, you know, kind of like a deal behind the scenes. And that's why we were in a good position. But since the person who was allowing those things to happen is no longer here, now we're getting all the results, the negative results, the outcomes of all the time we've spent without doing anything and letting the situation get better. So it's unfortunate, but it's just what it is. Lou, it is quite messed up. And my thoughts go out to the families of the people who lost their family members from, you know, the person who was set as an example, or the people who were set as examples. I haven't even got to see it all because this just all happened so fast that I had to set this up and I had to talk about it. And I have a few things open over here. Like I showed over here is the decree allowing the military to take action and actual action. There's also, I also opened Daniel Novoa's Facebook page. I mean, not his Instagram page. I can't look at it because I'm not logged in on my computer. But you can see, this was the message, the one over here, the one with 121K likes. This was the message where he actually talked about the situation, like what they're gonna do, what the country's gonna do, because they don't want to allow criminals anymore. He even sent in like an indirect, direct message to the person who let this alias Fito go from jail, because he was like, we're not gonna let the corrupt people in positions of power keep doing what they want, and we're gonna make a change. We're gonna do things better, because we don't give in to terrorists. That's a very brief summary of what he said, but those are some of the things that he's been talking about. You can check his updates, of course, on his Instagram page. And if you guys can, like, send him some messages so maybe he can, like, I can interview him and talk to him, because he was in Puerto Viejo one day and I didn't know. And I sent him a message already through Instagram, but I don't have his email, so I can't communicate with him. But I already sent him an email, a message, so that we can talk. He can be on my show and he can talk about his plans, because I would think it would be great to hear from him, you know, face to face, and for him to resolve any doubts that people have about his plans, and, you know, and show that he's actually willing to do what he set out to do. I think it's always good when a person decides to talk about things face to face. It gives me more faith in what they're doing. Okay, so going on with the comments. Accounting Tom, I feel we should follow the advice of your mother-in-law and Ace, for sure, for sure. I mean, my advice is always going to be to be on the side of caution. January is not turning out to be a good month to visit Ecuador, which I'm already here, so I can't do anything about that. But definitely, if you decide to come, like, for some reason, if this does not deter you from coming, that's okay. I realize there's touristic things to do here in touristic cities, but at least come with the mentality that this is not the United States, this is not Germany, this is not a country where things are just constantly safe. Like I always say, and this is just my first and main advice I always give, you can't go out on the street with your phone like this. You'll see some people doing it and they're crazy, in my opinion, but really, if you want to avoid danger, that is just such an easy way to avoid it, like not being out on the street with your phone, not going out late. I know the parties are typically late, but don't go out late, at least for your safety. Have fun doing the touristic things. Don't go out of your way to do things that just because you only live once, you got to do it. Yeah, you only live once, but you're not going to live very long if you don't take the precautions that we're trying to give you. Because it's not just me. Like, I think other YouTubers, other people who are in this space, we try to give advice, but really, I can't go against every comment that tells me the United States is more dangerous. This other place is more dangerous. This city is more dangerous. I know they're more dangerous, but this is the situation we're living through. And if you're coming to Ecuador, then you have to realize there is a level of danger here that comes with it. Not all the time, but it does happen. Okay, moving on. Jamie, hello. I hope your class went well. Accounting Tom, we didn't go to Ecuador this year, and we usually go every year, but we are coming in July for my father-in-law's birthday. If they tell us don't come, I mean, if they tell you don't come, there's a reason for that. And it's unfortunate, but it's necessary. My wife is on the phone with my mother-in-law, and she is scared and boarded up in the house with her dad. Sounds like what my friend is doing with her boyfriend, her sister's boyfriend, and her other sister, and the other boyfriend of her sister. Because one of her sisters is actually closer to Guayaquil, and I'm concerned about that as well. Mars. Clearly, the prisons need a complete, by the way, hello, staff overhaul. These people can riot and escape at will. That's what Daniel Noboa is saying. There's a lot of people, a lot of corrupt people who are in these positions of power. And it's not just in the jails, it's in the government itself. That's why a lot of the RC5, which is the Rafael Correa list, they're already being like, there's already talks that they're going to be taken out because they're in leagues with Correa, and there's this whole metastasis. I don't know if that's metastasis. I'm not sure what you call it in English, but it's a whole corruption case that is being talked about because there's a lot of people who were in contact with these criminals, with criminals all around Ecuador, and just allowing a lot of bad things to happen, corruption and just terrible things overall. Counting Tom, I've been to Puerto Viejo too many times. My in-laws don't let me out of the house unless I'm getting a pizza. Oh man, welcome to Puerto Viejo. I'm glad you were actually here so you know what the situation is like. And if you didn't eat encebollado while you were here, we're gonna have a problem, Tom. We're gonna have a problem. So please confirm that you did try encebollado here and from the good places. Angie, prayers to Ecuador. Yes, may our thoughts, our prayers, our best wishes be here for not just this city, but the whole country, and hope that this is the path towards something better and not just a terrible thing and that's it. But yeah, let me see here. Going back into the stuff that we had over here. There's the whole situation with the toque de queda, which is the curfew that we talked about, which is from 11 until 5 in the morning. And of course, like I talked about in my community post, there are people who don't have to, not abide by it. Like it's not that they don't have to abide by it, but they are exempt from this. Remember, there are some sites, if you right click, you can translate to English, like what I'm gonna do here. So you can see some translations, like here, who is exempt. And you'll see here that it translates the site, which is great. Makes it a lot easier for anyone who might not know the language. And sometimes I'll translate and check the translation just to make sure everything is perfect. And most of the time, the translation doesn't come out terrible. I've seen worse translations. So yeah, there's some of these things weren't translated, maybe because when I translated, I didn't put continue reading. But it's just a thing that's happening. Let's see here. Accounting Tom, I'm a ceviche guy. I haven't had the other popular dish yet. You have to get it. Hopefully you do. I'll have it in July if I'm allowed to come. I hope they let you come just for the encebollado, but if it's, like I said, I think we have to see how the situation develops this month and the following month at this point, seeing how things are just today. If everything develops quickly and good in a well way, then excellent. If not, damn. Jamie, metastasis in English means for cancer to spread. Well, if we look at the corruption as a cancer, then yes, it is quite so a cancer on this country. Really quick, I wanted to play this because I saw that they had like a live stream over here. I don't know if it's finished.
Hoy mismo y abre la puerta a las mejores ofertas
to finish. And hopefully it doesn't take the power from
Regístrate en www.larbox.com
from the stream. I don't know if you guys can hear what's going on. I can't hear it, but this was what was happening at the news station. And this guy is talking about it. Maybe I should mute it so that way our voices don't like echo. But this was what was happening earlier when the actual situation was going on. the metastasis, not the metastasis, the when these criminals went into the news station. And earlier I was also seeing on the news that the police were out on the street, and some guy, just for being on his motorcycle, they beat him down, literally beat him down. And they were like, you know, making sure he wasn't a suspicious person. But if I go with what my dad said about the people who are out on the street right now, there could just be a guy out on the street because they're trying to like be a snitch and tell like their friends about what's going on. So like, even if it's just like a person that looks like they're doing nothing, or if they're literally doing nothing, they could be a snitch for the actual bad people. So it makes sense that they get stopped and, you know, cornered for the things that they're probably trying to do. And oh, it's saying that the stream is not running smoothly, so I'm going to exit this YouTube video because it's probably because of the chat. It's going crazy. Either way, let me know if the stream, if it like got worse when I right now. Like if it's better, then cool. If not, then let me know. But yeah, that's the situation, what's going on and what's happening in terms of safety. Like I said, really, I can't say what's going to happen next. I can only hope that with what's going on in the country, at least for now, like after this clears up, you know, the bad part of this ends, like that things get better, because I can't confirm if they'll get better now, immediately, but I do know that after some time, once you get rid of the scum, like they say, things will get better. I don't know if anyone has any questions, anything you would like me to check out. What are your thoughts on the situation? I do want to, let me see if I can get this to reload and translate correctly so that we can see this. Continuar leyendo. Right click, translate to English. So like we said yesterday in the post, these are the people who are exempt: security and law enforcement, health services. There was one pertaining to people who are traveling. And here, people who must travel to and from airports on scheduled flights within curfew hours. So I saw a lot of comments online of people worried about their flights, about, you know, coming to the country, like, oh, what were they going to do? But if you have a scheduled flight and you came to the country with the flight, obviously, of course, you have an exemption here. Social media workers, I think someone made a comment on my post saying that I'm a social media worker. I don't think anyone, even with my videos, is gonna buy that immediately. So I don't think I'm gonna have much influence in that. Like, I'm not exempt from things like that. I'd have to have a really specific purpose, and I'm not going out by myself to record at 11 at night. That would be crazy. But yeah. Let's see here. The stream was fine for me. You were frozen for a minute. Choppy now. Hola, Lovin. Hola, Jamie. Yeah, that's why I just exited the YouTube video, because I think whenever I play a video on my stream, because the computer isn't strong enough to handle it, it just starts to lag. So I just decided to not play it. I mean, maybe I could play it if I dropped the quality down to like, to literal, what do you call that? A PowerPoint presentation, like 144p or something. I don't even know if that option is available. But yeah, like I was saying, these are the people who are allowed to still, you know, go around at the time of the curfews, but you must provide documented proof. That is very important, because a lot of people overlook that and just think, oh no, but like I really did just come from this place or that place. But you got to confirm it, because a lot of people, bad people, can go around saying, I came from the airport too. And, you know, you're not just going to believe them. So there's just things that you have to, rules that you have to follow. So yeah, let's see here. From Daniel Daniel Novo, I'm guessing, is taking a step in the right direction. These situations tend to get worse before they get better. The way the criminals are acting is showing something is working at least. That's what I keep saying. I hate that it's the way that it has to happen because obviously innocent people are being put at risk. And also a lot of my friends and people that I know were already talking about, oh no, there goes my holiday, there goes my vacation. I had a coworker who said, oh no, my son's graduation was going to be this day. And they were talking about having to change the time. And it's like, yeah, I mean, if you want things to change and get better, it's just kind of the way that it's going to be, at least for now. There's not much you can do about it, except for hope that, that you're in a safe position. That's why I keep telling people, like, don't go out on the street if you don't have to. Try to stay safe. Today, I only went out because I had work and they sent me back home. So, it's just things that happen. Chance, hello. Please provide a summary. I will in a second. Jamie, do you think there will be any safety issues on the city-to-city buses? So a summary is that there was an attack on the news station. And aside from the attack on the news station, which was committed by these terrorists, I'm going to call them terrorists right now because that's what they are. They're doing terrorist acts. Aside from that attack, there's also been a lot of violence in the jails. There was the whole, I talked about it, but I couldn't show it because I don't have the video here. But there was the terrorist guys. They were holding up two guards and making them say, like, Daniel Novoa, have mercy on us, pretty much. And then the criminals, they were like, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, we're going to have to end the lives of these people. But yeah, that's the danger. Living, loving abroad, gotta run. Dude, take it easy. Hope you guys stay safe. Try not to go out today. I know the gym might be calling, but take care, please. So yeah, the situation is basically the country is in a state of emergency. We don't know exactly what's going to happen as such, what criminal acts are going to follow, because the criminals are saying they're going to set up bombs. They're going to be executing people for every hour that the situation doesn't change. Those are their words, not mine. So the situation is just bad. And we don't know exactly if it's going to get better, what's going to happen from here on out. I do think there are going to be safety issues with the buses because I talked about that I don't remember if it was a post that I saw on Facebook or if it was in where I saw it. I saw it on Reddit, but I remember I talked about it somewhere else. But there was because someone wasn't paying the extortionist, a bus was burned down, like a bus was burned. And I wouldn't put it past the criminals to be, holding up buses right now in order to get hostages. I can't say that that's actually going to happen, but they're definitely going to be trying everything that they can to get a response from the president. And the response that they want is for the president to just stop doing what he's doing, to stop trying to make Ecuador a better place, pretty much. So that's the situation with that. That's what I think about the buses. I just think every opportunity that the criminal is going to get to try to stop the president from doing what they're doing, they're going to try to do it like immediately. I just hope that this doesn't mean that more innocent people are put at risk, because now that the actual, and that's the other thing that I forgot to mention, Chance. I did mention it earlier, but the military and the police are actually now permitted to take action. So now it's not just, they just exist and they can't do anything. No, now they can actually go out and they can actually, like, if they see someone doing something, it's not just like, oh, they're just, we have to just take them to jail. No, they can shoot and they can actually take a life if they have to, which is, it's terrible to hear people are losing their lives, but it's also terrible when the person who takes a life doesn't have to be held accountable for what they did. So, like I said earlier, the criminals have been doing what they want because there's just never been anything that stops them from doing these things. There's never been a law that says like, oh, if a criminal kills someone, they get killed too. No, it's always they kill someone, they go to jail, and since jail is like second home to them, they stay in jail for like a few months, maybe a year, and then they come out like nothing happened. So they got to commit their crime, they got to go to their second house, and they just like, and it's all good. So, you know, right now we have the chance of them actually being held accountable for what they're doing. And I'd love to see more. Let me check some more news. I'm gonna look Ecuador Noticias. Armed men are arrested after storming. Okay, so we have the arrest of these criminals. So let's check this article out. I'm gonna close the one over here about the curfew. So there have been the men arrested, like Living Loving Abroad mentioned earlier. So let's see. How many men? The men armed with pistols and what looked like sticks of dynamite entered the set of the TC television network in the port city of Guayaquil and shouted that they had bombs. Let me see here. Shortly after the gunmen stormed the TV station, Noboa issued another decree designating 20 drug trafficking gangs operating in the country as terrorist groups and authorizing Ecuador's military to neutralize these groups within the bounds of international humanitarian law. Ecuador's national police chief announced a short time later that the authorities had arrested all the masked intruders. Good. So the intruders, all of them have been arrested. This is an act that should be considered as a terrorist act. Yes, exactly, Zapata said. Zapata is the police commander, as we can see over here. And this is going on, this is talking about the gang leader that was missing from his prison cell, alias Fito, which his official name, he's the Choneros leader, Adolfo Macias. So everyone knows him as Fito, and you always hear about alias Fito because that's what everyone calls him. But the government has not said how many attacks have taken place since they announced the Los Choneros gang leader Adolfo Macias, alias Fito, was discovered missing from his cell in a low-security prison on Sunday. He was scheduled to be transferred to a maximum security facility that day. And that's where supposedly people say that he was able to escape and during his transit, and like Daniel Loboa said, in his direct message, that's why they don't want to allow corrupt people in the positions of power that they're in, because these corrupt people are who are allowing people like Fito to get away and to keep doing the things that they're doing. Let me see here. Chance, curfew. The curfew is basically you can't go out past 11, and you have to be in your house from 11 at night until 5 in the morning, and this curfew lasts 60 days. So there's 60 days that that basically you're gonna have to like stay at home at the time that the curfew is in effect. Let me see here. Hard to say. It just says the police commander. Let me see here. From what it says, let me go back to where they mentioned the police commander. Police commander Cesar Zapata. It's hard to say if he's the Guayaquil police commander or the Ecuadorian police commander. Cesar Zapata, Ecuador. ¿Quién es? Let me see here. No gracias. I don't know what you're asking me, but no gracias. It seems he's the general commander of the national police. Yes, Cesar Augusto Zapata Correa. So he's the general commander. Matías González, bro, vete, ¿qué haces transmitiendo? Valórate, hermano, y refúgiese. So, Matías, no sé si me lo dices porque crees que algo me va a suceder, pero quiero informar a todo el mundo acerca de la situación y por eso estoy hablando de eso en vivo ahorita. Igual voy a mantenerme en casa y tratar de no ponerme en más peligro de lo actual. So basically, like I was saying in Spanish, is what this person is saying, Matias, is basically, why am I live? But like I said, I'm live because I want to inform everyone about the situation in the country and make sure everyone knows what's happening. And I'm going to try to, of course, not go out and put myself in harm's way because I know what the situation is right now, but I think everyone else deserves to know it as well. Chance, not a problem. Always glad to help. Silent, I know it's a fluid situation, but your summary missed that 3 policemen in Machala and 1 in Quito were kidnapped, plus 4 cars were bombed in Loja province. Yes, I talked about that there are some places being bombed. I don't specify the places because I have to look at the news articles in order to talk about it. And like I said, when I started the stream, everything had to be fast because I needed to inform the situation because it's something that's happening at the moment. That's why I'm opening the news articles that I find immediately as I find them, like the one over here about the armed men being arrested. They've been arrested. We have the national state of emergency over here. We just looked at, close this. We just looked at who is the General Cesar Zapata. Who is he? Basically, he's the general police commander. So it doesn't seem to be just Guayaquil, but also the general one. And we also took a look at the news over here that was live from Noticias Telemundo, but we couldn't stay there because my computer isn't powerful enough to show us everything. Accounting Tom, I'm still seeing prison guards being executed on Twitter right now. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, the message that was on Twitter from Emergencias EC. There's a page, they posted a video that this was what the criminals were demanding, and it showed that the 2 criminals had 2 of the guards there, and they said for every hour that Daniel Noboa doesn't stop what he's doing, they're going to execute someone. It is disturbing, and it is a horrible thing that's happening right now. Jay Gamer, hello. How's it going? One of my students. What's up? ¿Cómo te va? Matías, lo sé, bro, pero estos momentos son de cuidado y cuídate tu familia. Bendiciones desde acá de Chile. Yo veo también que vamos para allá, bro. Por eso te digo, espero estés bien. Matías, muchísimas gracias por las bendiciones. También cuida a tu familia. Espero que ustedes se encuentren bien. Y me voy a mantener igual lo más seguro posible y no pienso salir, al menos hasta que veamos que la situación esté mejor. No sé si mañana hay trabajo, pero si hay trabajo, voy a tener que andar con precaución. Like I was saying right now to Matias, thanking him for looking out for me, and honestly, hoping that he's also okay. He's in Chile. So greetings from Ecuador, by the way. And we're just going to have to take it easy, play it safe. I don't even know if I have work tomorrow because today I went, like I said earlier in the stream, I went to work and they sent me back. They were like, because the parents were calling the academy saying that we're not sending our kids. It's dangerous. Please cancel the classes. So classes were canceled and I came back home. And when I was out on the street, I saw a lot of cars going back and forth, people heading home. The downtown area is empty because my friend, she works over there, the one that I mentioned earlier. And she said that they sent her home as well because everyone was closing shop. So it's a situation that even though the main part of the problem, like we saw with the news station, is in Guayaquil, and you could say that the capital city of Ecuador, which is Quito, is probably one of the main places that was affected as well. It's still something that's affecting the whole country because no one wants to be out on the street when the situation is dangerous, because there could be a criminal that decides to do a shooting, or they decide to plant a bomb on your car. I don't have a car, but who knows? So you never know, and you just rather stay at home to avoid any problems. And the situation is just, it's an escalating situation. It's something that we don't know when it's going to end, and we don't know how it's going to end either, because the positive outcome could be that, you know, everything gets resolved because Noboa takes affirmative and decisive action where he doesn't give in to the demands of the criminals. But he could also just see that the situation is terrible and want to save the lives of the people who, in theory, they should be saved. Not in theory, really, they literally should be saved. But that would also mean giving into the demands of the criminals, meaning that they would probably keep doing what they do. Alternatively, it could also happen that with the actual help of the military, like they can stop the bad people before more things happen. The terrorists, yeah, the terrorists. I keep telling myself they're terrorists. The terrorists before more things happen, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But we know that the situation is affecting the whole country. Brian Dixon, hello. I really appreciate your info. Ojalá que everything will be peaceful soon. Ojalá, ojalá. Remember, ojalá is hopefully or I hope. I pray for you and for Ecuador's leadership. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking the time to comment. I appreciate everyone who's here right now and everyone who's tuning in. Please inform your family, inform your friends, anyone you know who might be in Ecuador or deciding to visit. Leave a like, leave a comment, so that way the stream reaches more people and more people can know what's happening here and they can be aware. I appreciate the support. And yeah, that's the situation. That's what's happening right now. Going back to this article over here. A national state of emergency. On Monday, he decreed the state of emergency, the curfew for 60 days. Here's some more information about the choneros for people who didn't know. First, Macias, which is Fito, who was convicted of drug trafficking, murder, and organized crime, was serving a 34-year sentence in La Regional prison in the port of Guayaquil. Los Choneros is one of the Ecuadorian gang authorities consider responsible for a spike in violence that reached a new level last year with the assassination of the presidential candidate, Fernando Villavicencio. The gang has links with Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, according to the authorities. Experts and authorities have acknowledged that gang members practically rule from inside the prisons. This is what I keep telling everyone, and I think a lot of people overlook the severity of that because they're literally in a place where they're supposed to be held accountable for the things that they do, and in that place, they're doing the bad things that they keep doing bad things. A lot of people complain about the prisons in the States because they give you food and it's like a house, but over here it's literally a house where the gang members own the prison. So sending someone to jail over here is the same thing as sending them home because they're just going to keep, they're just going to be like, oh, I can commit a crime, and if I go to jail, nothing's going to happen to me. At least people in the States, when they go to jail, they get put to work and they do things in order to feel, oh, I did something wrong. Not they go to jail and it's like, oh, hey, what's up, buddies? I'm here in my second house and I don't have to do anything. Hey. So, I do think that is a big problem over here with the jail system. And the worst part is that we acknowledge it and we don't do anything about it. That's why I'm glad that there's actually been how do you call that? There was the permission to do something about it right now. Let's see if anything else has happened. Ecuador. Noticias. Let me see here. This is from earlier. Takeover, arrested, armed men, enact state of emergency. So yeah, I don't think I'll be able to see anything else unless I see it live. Let's see what this says. But the thing is, I can't watch anything live because it's gonna mess with the stream. All I know is that right now the police are out on the streets. There was the attack on TC television. We talked about that. The people were rescued. We talked about that because they arrested the people. Over here, at least 4 police were kidnapped in Ecuador in the middle of the state of emergency that was decreed. And after the person escaped, this man Fito, from jail. So yeah, that's about all right now, at least that's live. Southern Breeze, sorry to hear about all this, Ace. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Southern, and welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the positive comments. So right now, that's what the situation is looking like here in Ecuador. For anyone who has doubts about the situation, you know, this is what's happening. Living Loving, oh, welcome back. Had to record a message for my family back in the US. No worries, but glad you're here. And hope your family knows that you're okay, because that's really important to everyone right now, to know that you're safe and sound. Because with the situation as it is, no matter how much more dangerous it might be in a different country, it is dangerous over here right now. That's why some people are boarding themselves up at home. I mean, I'm not planning on leaving. The good thing is I already have my bag of roscas over here. You guys know me. This is my treat, but I'll probably eat it later. I also have some water, and I'll eat my food a little bit later after the stream. But I think I'll be here for a while longer to answer any questions and to talk. What do you guys think of the situation? What's the situation like in your country? How are you doing? Is everything okay? Easy Fix, hello. Are you able to see the police presence outside of your home? I mean, I could try to go outside, but unfortunately, I won't be able to take you guys with me because the camera's over here. But I'm pretty sure that since there's this whole, the police have actually been given authority to roam the streets and do something. If I went out and stood outside long enough, I'd probably be able to see some policemen. Kirk, hello. Good to see you. Be safe, my friend, in many ways. I'm sure the government is not surprised by this reaction. I'm not surprised by this reaction. Because I honestly, like I said earlier in the stream, this is something that has to happen. I hate that it has to happen in this way, where people are being executed, where people are being kidnapped, where people are being used as an example that if you don't do what we want you to do, we're going to keep doing bad things, because they're the ones committing the crime and they're getting punished for it, which is what has to happen when you commit a crime. And of course, their retaliation is expected, but I hate that it has to be like that. DGDW, how's it going? Hello. Yep, we're staying home in Cuenca while this is going on. Good, please stay safe. Eat some roscas, take it easy, you know. What time did the TV station thing happen? That happened around 2, because I got a message from my friend, like I said earlier, and she told me that had been happening since around like 2:20, around there. 2 p.m. Ecuador time, by the way. And right now, Ecuador time, it is 5:14, for anyone who doesn't know about the situation. Going after the bad guys was bound to cause a reaction, of course. That's just the situation right now. Peter Allen, hello, Peter. Important that people get information from official sources, not social media. Yes, that's why I have the news articles over here. Earlier, it was live. It was a live stream. What was being shown, that was happening with these hooded gunmen, that was it was actually live while it was happening. So we were all able to experience it. My parents were literally in the room. They were watching the TC News, and it was just the camera like pointed at a door and like police walking in and coming out. Like they were just like, because it was live, it was just something that happened live. And everything, even my thumbnail, is actually the literal, like a screen cap from the actual crime that was being committed, the terrorists going into that station. So it's all official. I'm in the country, so there's nothing more official than that. And what's happening. I'd love to just go out on the street and see what the situation is like. I don't know if the streets at this point, since over 3 hours at this point have passed, I'm sure that the streets should be empty. I'm pretty sure the streets are empty. But if there is anyone, it's probably just someone rushing home, or maybe the criminals, to be honest. Great reporting, amigo. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate you being here and appreciate your kind comment. So it's just the situation as it is right now. And I can't even go check it outside because, like I said, I'd have to bring the camera and I can't do that. But it's unfortunate. I think it's very unfortunate that this is what's happening. And I want to give a time frame, but I know every time I give a time frame for these things, it's never that time frame. But at the soonest that I think that this situation, at least the whole plan to fix things is gonna happen, I'd say give it like a month, 2 months, to see how things happen. And really don't even listen to that number. The number you should listen to the most if you're planning on coming here, and like I said, this is just speculation on my end, give it about a month to see what progresses in Ecuador. Check the news every day. Check my channel because I'll probably be making updates every time I see something happen. Check other sources, Don Shader, Living Loving Abroad, Amelia and JP, I think they probably will talk about it, I assume. You can check out Jolie Farms. Check out every source that you have available to you because every source is going to give their point of view. And we all live in different places, but we all see what's happening. Like I said, I'm living in Puerto Viejo, which it's not even like an hour away from Guayaquil. We're talking about 4 hours plus. And over here, we're seeing the effects where people are panicking. So just imagine over in Guayaquil, imagine in Quito, people who live in port cities like Don Shader, who lives in a port city, and other people who live in port cities. So, it's just crazy. Timothy, Timothy, hello. Damn, I planned on going a week-long trip to Ecuador next week. Crazy. Please be safe. I will stay safe. Thank you for tuning in. Reconsider, or if you do come, take the utmost precaution to not just randomly wander the streets. It's not worth it. Your life is worth more than that. DGDW, the streets are mostly empty here. Some cars driving, which I think is people headed home. Yeah. I mean, it just that it made, like earlier when I went out at around 3:05, 3:10. And I saw that the streets were already like people like moving around, but I didn't think that they were like panicking because of the situation. I just thought normal Ecuador traffic. And then at the academy, they told me, no, everyone's going home. No one's going to come because the parents are calling. And then I just went home. I was just like, okay, well, if no one's coming, I'm going to go home. And I went home and there were still people driving on the streets. I got the message from my friend and she told me she went home because the center, the downtown area was closed down. And it was just that. Everyone just taking the precautions. And it makes sense. Who wants to be out on the streets if you could be next for some kind of assassination attempt? And this time, just to set an example, not even because you did something bad. Fluffy, I think police just captured the people who raided TV station. Yes, we actually saw that over here in one of the articles. Hold up, I should probably keep that one open and close this one because this is the updated news. Over here, the armed men are arrested after storming an Ecuador TV studio. So that is the current news at this moment. All is calm and quiet in Cuenca. I hope people aren't going out in Cuenca because right now you just don't know what's going to happen, no matter where you are. Accounting Tom, I'll be checking in, my brother, to your vids and keep my ears to the ground. Stay safe out there. Appreciate it. You take care over there too, Tom, and make sure your family is safe as well. The situation, what's worse is that my dad talked about this a little bit because I told him that this was necessary for things to get better, but the reality is it's also going to make sorry about that, my microphone moved. But the reality is that the situation is also going to get worse for people living here. Hold up. Sorry about this. Need to move the mic. the situation is also going to get worse for people living here, because it's just, think about how people live here. Right now, I don't think anyone's going out. I don't even know if my dad is going to go work. Actually, in fact, let me ask him. I don't even think I have to ask him. He's already downstairs because he probably went to go work, but I don't think it's a good idea for him to go out. But a lot of people aren't going to work because, like I said, the downtown area is closed. My dad's probably going out to work because there might be people who come to order because they don't want to cook at home or something, and he wants to try to make something because the situation's been terrible over here. But imagine, people can't go out to work because it's dangerous. So that's just going to mess with the economy now. So we're living through a crisis where there's the problem with crime. Now, this whole situation with things getting bad, like the criminals taking action, and then people are going to be influenced financially. I mean, I didn't even get to go to work today, so I don't even know if I'm going to get those hours, which sucks. Lou, Telemazona's live on YouTube showing today's events. Yeah, I tried to open it, but the thing is, if I open it, it's going to lag the stream, and I don't want the stream to lag. Kathy, stay safe, Ace. Thank you, Kathy. You stay safe as well. I hope you're doing well. Silent, tried to send the complete link, but it wouldn't let me. It's because links aren't allowed to be sent. Let me send the one that I have over here for this site. Let me see if I can send it over here in the chat for anyone who wants to read the link that I have open right now. You can check that link right there. And you can read the article as well, or you can check it out later. But yeah, I'm worried because this situation could affect everyone, not only in safety, but financially, especially how things have already been economically. It's just really bad. Kim, hello, Kim. How's it going? Definitely quiet in Cuenca. I didn't even know anything was going on until my building manager called me half an hour ago. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I didn't have to go to work, and if I didn't have social media where people were telling me, I had a friend, he said, bro, are you out on the street? And I'm like, nah, I'm at home right now. He's like, and I'm like, why? He's like, don't you see what's happening out there? I'm like, yeah, I know what's happening, but I'm just trying to, take it easy, trying to stay safe. So it's just something that's happening right now, and you do have to be aware of it. But you won't notice if you're not, if you're at home. I keep saying this in some videos and some live streams. If I'm just at home, chilling, just relaxed, I'm not even gonna notice what's happening. But I just saw the comment, Kirk, put on the Spidey suit and kick some butt. Just kidding, don't do that. Stay inside. Someone on Reddit, there were comments on Reddit where people were talking about the crime that happened. I think it was on the post about the bus that was burned. And I saw some people saying, we need Batman, we need El Justiciero. There was a person in Ecuador who was called the Justiciero because he took justice into his own hands. I remember because when I got here, my best friend told me, my best friend from Ecuador, he told me that he's he was Ecuador's Batman. And he would go out on the streets and he would punish criminals because the police wouldn't do it. So it was a crazy time. And there was someone like that, and people want that to happen, but they wanted that to happen because the police and the military weren't doing anything. But now, hopefully, with the decree that Daniel Noboa he made, hopefully now the police will do something. And remember, guys, if you follow Daniel Noboa on Instagram, send him messages, tell him that Ace wants to interview him because we want to hear from him, directly from him. We want to hear what his changes are, how he's going to make the country better. If you're, like I said earlier, like the stream, share it with your friends and family who are planning on coming to Ecuador so that this information can get out there to more people. Luke, I have a flight into Quito next week. Not sure if I should cancel. Honestly, if I had to give you my opinion, like if I were to, because I'm just kind of cheap, I might not cancel, but I would take extreme precautions. Extreme. The ones that I keep telling everyone: don't go out on the street. Only go to the touristic places with a guide, if a guide even wants to go out. But we have to see what happens past today. Every day that advances, we have to see what happens. After January is over, if everything is okay, then we're good. But if things are still bad, like even after a week, then you gotta do what you gotta do. If you want to play it completely safe, just don't come. If you want to risk it, come with like the utmost precautions. Let's see here. Papicho, what's your thought about the start of 2024 with all the crimes, earthquakes, school shootings, global warming, and wars all over the world? It's just January 9th. Going with the global warming situation, I think that influences everything else that is climate related. Just think about the whole situation with like the increase in temperatures, the natural disasters. That's because we didn't listen. And I include myself in this group because I think we all have to hold ourselves accountable, because if not, we're just going to keep pointing the finger at someone else and just try to throw the blame to someone else and hope that the problem gets resolved that way. But no, we need to take care of the environment. I see it on the streets here all the time, people throwing their trash on the streets, a little bit less than before, but it still happens. Throw trash away in the right places, conserve energy, don't waste water, take care of the environment, because this is for everyone, for us, for the people who are coming next, the next generation and generations to follow. It's not fair to think just because we're not going to live through the worst part of it that we can just keep doing these things. I include myself because, like I said, we all need to hold ourselves accountable, even if we're doing the right thing, because people feel attacked also when they say, if I tell someone you do it because I'm doing it, it just makes me sound like I'm the perfect being, but I'm not. So I also need to do better. We can all do better. So I think that's just a part of the problem. I think it's terrible how the whole world is going through a lot of things. Just think of the wars that have happened. And of course, we're talking about coming into the year, and the fact that Ukraine still isn't done with theirs. And that just saddens me so much, because Ukraine does not deserve to go through this. People in Russia who have nothing to do with the war don't deserve to go through this. So it's just terrible. The school shootings is just something that I hate. Why take the lives of kids? Celeste, hello. The reason why Americans have the right to have guns is because of what is happening in your country. Yeah, but guns aren't the solution over here. We have some rights to have guns now too, but that's not going to make the situation better. The fact that guns lead to school shootings, well, not the guns, that's actually more of a psychological issue, but if you don't have access to the guns, it makes it a little bit more complicated to be able to like do something like that. But it is a psychological issue more than anything, because there are people who just have a very hard life as kids. I don't even know if what they have as a childhood should even be considered a childhood, and that's why just some people become terrible in the future. So yeah, guns can be considered a deterrent, but they can also be considered a part of the problem. So more than anything, the problems here that are happening is because there's just too much lenience from the police. There's been too much corruption in the country. Just think about what I'm telling you, where the police can't do anything in the jails because the jails are run by the criminals. It just makes no sense. So the problems, there's just too many things for me to just blame it on one thing. But the root problem in Ecuador is corruption. You get rid of corruption and everything becomes so much better. Everything becomes so much better. But the only way to get rid of corruption is to get rid of everything, because there's a mentality here where corruption is just, it's what makes people like live. Like people thrive on being proud because they took advantage of someone else. La ley del sabido. La viveza criolla. I've talked about these two things before. Ley del sabido, viveza criolla. And because of these things, people think it's okay to be corrupt and to do things and get away with it because they were smarter than everyone else. You are not smarter than everyone else. You just took advantage of everyone, and that's not cool. Tom, my father-in-law just texted me on WhatsApp, and he said that he made it home from working. Oh, thank God. In Manta, now my in-laws are together in lockdown. Perfect. I'm glad they're safe. Please. Let me see here. Criminals will always have guns. What about the people, if they don't have anything to defend themselves, will be the ones to pay? And what about what about the teacher? What about the teacher that got shot by a student because the kid, his parents had a gun at home? What about that teacher? Like, what about that situation? If we go into specifics, of course, we're going to find an excuse, a justification for everything. Yes, guns can deter someone from doing something to you, but guns can also fall into the wrong hands and end up causing a problem that maybe you wanted nothing to do with. So it's just so many things, and there is no right answer. I think guns, if used correctly, aren't a bad thing. But do people use guns correctly all the time? No. If you think about a whole world, if there were 0 guns, would there be shootings? No. But that's the extreme, and that's not going to happen. So the most we can do is just do our jobs as people, the police do their jobs as police, and make sure that the people who are committing crimes are put to justice. And not just the police, but the system. If someone goes to jail for killing someone, don't let them out after a year. That person has to be in jail for life. They took one life, so they lose a life. Maybe not their life. Maybe they don't have to die necessarily, but they do have to like lose their freedom that they've had. Jamie, more guns does not equal less violence. Thank you, Jamie. Universal, it's orgullo. What do you mean, Universal? ¿A qué te refieres? And by the way, hello, Universal. RKBA87, hello. My girlfriend and her family are safe, locked down in Guayaquil, thank goodness. Her mother is a teacher and plans for online classes tomorrow. Right, there is online classes right now. I forgot that there was the alternative. If you can't go to work physically, you can have online classes. So you can still function, at least for now. And I'm pretty sure my brother who works at a high school is probably going to have to do something similar. The law. Hello, the law. We are doing a 7-day bike tour in Ecuador. What are the most dangerous areas in your opinion? Areas we should avoid? Ooh, dangerous areas. It's specific to each city. If you're just going from one city to another, then that's a whole different story. We're talking about a whole different situation. But each city has its own dangerous section. And honestly, I can't specify each one. Your best bet, if you're doing this bike tour, try to communicate. First, don't tell me, because I don't want you putting this in the chat and then someone using that information to do something against you. But if you want, try to post anonymously in Reddit, in Ecuador travel groups on Facebook, and ask, in this section of the city that I'm going to be in, what are the most dangerous areas I should avoid? And people will answer. They might not answer immediately, but people will answer. And try to avoid those sections. That's my advice to you, the law. And I hope it helps. Because people do deserve to come here and have fun in Ecuador, but I don't want you to risk it, you know? Let's see here. Celeste, where I live is a state where people have the right to own guns. I'm guessing you mean there isn't any gun violence, the same in Texas. Great. I talked about this a little bit earlier, just slightly, but honestly, I can't do anything about the comparisons between Ecuador and your country. Wherever you're at, honestly, I can't say that my situation is worse, your situation is worse, or you have a better solution than mine. I can just tell you what's happening here, and you can be informed, so that way you can make a decision based on the information I'm giving you. Not really into making these comparisons, because I know that the States has a lot of violence and gun shootings and school shootings and a lot of problems. But that doesn't mean Ecuador is not dangerous, and that doesn't mean that over here guns are going to solve the problem. It's just the way things are. Every country has its problems, and if you're coming to this country, you have to know what it's like. I mean, if you don't want to know, then you could close your eyes and just come here blind, but that's up to you. Universal, the corruption, they feel so prideful to be that way. It's evil. Yes, estoy de acuerdo. I agree. People, it's so weird, because my dad has talked to people who are like, I guess you could say they're kind of like people who, from the old school, they're people who have links to corruption, and they don't want things to go back to normal. They don't want the corruption to end, because they're happy with it, because they take advantage of it. I mean, if you're getting a government contract, like if you're a person who owns a company and you're getting a government contract that gives you like $5 million, and you have to, the person who gives you the contract, you have to pay them $1 million. You still keep $4 million. So it's like, you're making a ton of money. So why would you want to end that? I mean, I don't think it's right, and I wouldn't do that, but I'm not those people, and everyone is different. So I speak for myself, and I can't speak for them, but I understand why they wouldn't want to go back to the old ways. Let me see here. Kirk, not a good idea to import United States gun culture to solve an Ecuadorian problem. That is what a lot of people, when the gun law was enacted over here, like when people were talking about the gun law, some people were for it, but a lot of people were against it, because the bringing in guns isn't going to solve the issue. If there's already an issue and guns already exist, like, how are you going to solve it by bringing in more guns? If the United States is a country with guns and they have gun issues, how are you going to resolve the problem over here by bringing in guns? Yes, you're going to mitigate some of the problems, but you're not going to completely eliminate them. RK, we plan on a flight from the Guayaquil airport in 2 weeks. We are hopeful that it will still be possible, but just leaving the house is scary at the moment due to the situation. I know what you mean. I hope you have some snacks, some treats. Like I said, I have some roscas over here, just to like not have to go out. If you do go out, just make sure you go out with someone. Stay safe, take the precautions that I always give. Wear a hoodie, although then I don't know, because then maybe the police is going to think you're dangerous. So I don't know, just play it safe, but stay safe, please. Universal, I'm going to Quito in March from the States, Carolina Park, hoping things cool down. I'm hoping for the best for you, Universal. I also know some people who are coming here in March, and really, 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 I'm hoping that the situation is better by the end of January. It had to be this month, didn't it? This is my month. This Friday we have a special stream that is still going to happen, but I hope things are better by then, at least. Jamie, Celeste, you are wrong. Ace, you don't have to read every comment. You're right, Jamie, but I like to interact, because I want to make sure to resolve things. But if it's something that I can't talk about, then I'll probably just leave it alone. I definitely always will read the members' comments, though, that's for sure, because I appreciate the support. For anyone who's a channel member, and if you're here, thank you for supporting the channel, supporting me. It is tough right now. It has been tough for quite a while. So everything that you guys do, just being here, I appreciate it, and I hope that you're getting value from everything that we're talking about here today. This interaction, this video, I hope it helps. DGDW, and yes, that's the point where I definitely stop responding on that line of conversation. Okay, so yeah, I won't respond to that anymore, but like I said, there's a lot of things to talk about sometimes, so I just I'm just used to replying to the comments because you guys take the time to message, to comment. So I like taking time to respond. So I'll just happy face. Let's see if there's been any updates on the news in the meantime. Let's refresh this. I know this is live. Ecuador noticias. Ecuador declares international armed conflict. Like we talked about earlier, a terrorist attack. Drug gangs wreak havoc across the country. Ecuador TV studio, we talked about that already. Yeah, this internal armed conflict is probably just going into details about the situation with these people who went into the news station and it being declared as a terrorist act, which is why the people are being treated as terrorists. Kathy, I was supposed to be there 1:24, but I'm going to wait. Please be careful. Thank you, Kathy. You stay safe as well. Please reconsider at least until, like you said, at least until January ends. Thank you for subscribing. I just noticed over here subscription. Thank you for joining the channel, for subscribing. But yeah, there's a lot of things to look at least before the month ends. And that's considering that this is the criminal aspect. We're still waiting for El Nino. Yesterday there was rain. I wasn't going to talk about this, but yesterday there was rain all night. Like literally it rained the whole night. I woke up and it was still raining. So I'm feeling like El Nino is little by little having more effects, but it still hasn't gotten to the level where I would say El Nino is a concern. Right now, because of the safety issue, I think that's more of a concern. But I had El Nino as a priority until what happened today. Now today with the crisis, I think that's more of a concern than El Nino. So it's going to be tough times right now with El Nino, with the crisis, and like I said earlier, with the economic situation. Since I don't know if people are going to be working normally. I'm actually surprised my dad went to go work, unless he went to the bathroom, and that's why I didn't see him in the room. But if the situation keeps getting worse like that, we're going to have to wait a while, withstand tough times, and then hope that the situation gets better. Universal, I heard Noboa is considering Bukele's strong-arm tactics in Ecuador since it's been working in El Salvador. Let's hope so. I actually saw, I talked about this earlier. I saw a video earlier in the day where it showed like people in the jails, like on the floor and like with shaved heads, similar to what was happening in El Salvador. So I do feel like they're trying to take action, and that's why I do feel like the terrorists, they're kind of like, you know, they're taking their own action. They're like kind of mad about what's happening. Let me see something. Urgencias ese Twitter, because this is where I saw, I think this was the one where I saw the video from in the morning. But if you go to this X profile, you'll find some stuff there. You'll find some videos because they tend to post some of the more like recent news that's happening. So you might want to check that out whenever you have the chance. Let me see something. No, I'll just close this down for now. But yeah, going into the comments, any idea what's motivating these people? It's obvious. It's what I talked about earlier. They're getting desperate because they want to, it's kind of like a desperate attempt to get things to stop, like to get the president to stop doing what he's doing, because the president right now is he's trying to make things better. He's trying to set up these states of emergency. He's trying to get rid of the cartels. He's doing something. And since he's actually doing something and these criminals have been used to the president not doing anything at all, it's kind of like they're getting desperate with what's happening, you know? So it's more of a desperation kind of thing. I don't know how it's going to affect the situation in the end, but we'll see. There's no guarantees that this will fix anything, but hopefully with actual action being taken, it's like there's a good chance that things will get better. Let me see here. Fluffy, I think the president should contract out the prison's management to El Salvador. That would be pretty crazy, and that would be pretty, like, crazy in the sense that I wouldn't expect it, but crazy in the sense, good, in the sense that it's something that I feel like we need to happen. Papicho, good intelligent people don't need guns. All you need is wisdom to avoid any evil harm. Have faith in God and he will guide you the way. Intelligent people definitely don't need guns. Like, I've said this before because I got this from Vinland Saga, but we don't have any enemies. And the fact that we create enemies is just because it's like what we want to do. We want to imagine people aren't on our side. Not sure how else to look at it, but it's like, you know. Because all right, so why take it out on a new agency? An idea what's motivating? Because the president. Hold up. Did the. Hello, hello. Well, I was about to say, did it mute? I thought the battery ran out on my microphone. WTC, hello. I don't know if there's another curfew now, but the curfew from yesterday was from 6. Was it 6? No, from 11 until 5 a.m. 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. I don't know why I was thinking 6. Probably because it's about to be 6. Yes, like Jamie said. Thank you. My brain glitched for a second. I hear you just fine. Yeah, it was just the volume of Lucid. But yeah, is the news agency government owned? Good question. I just know of TC News because it's TC News. Everyone knows about TC News over here. Onto the set of a public television channel. Let me see here. I guess that would make sense if it was government broadcasts. I mean, if it were government broadcasts, you could see them doing that, but I feel like it wouldn't matter if it were government owned or not. If it's popular enough for them to get the attention of the government, then it would make sense that they would, do it like that, Lucid, are you from in Ecuador? I am in Ecuador right now. As for from, that's kind of iffy information until later on in the future. I do have a future video planned where I'm going to talk about that because it's going to be an interesting topic, I think, depending on how I'd make that video. But yeah, hold up. I wanted to do something really quick because I'm going to check my stream over here just to be sure of everything flowing well. Appreciate it. I will definitely stay safe. I don't plan on doing anything else other than this stream to put myself at risk. Although I think in general, anything that we as YouTubers do that gives information about crime is just the possibility that it could be unsafe for us because we did it like that, you know? I don't have guarantees. I have nothing that will confirm that, but it's like you never know. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, Ace, for sure. Not sure if there's any other questions or anything anyone else would like to talk about. To bad innocent people to get caught. Yeah, it sucks because it's not fair. Jay, what's going on? If there's anything else anyone would like to mention or anything you guys would like me to check out before we continue, let me know. Is the curfew countrywide? Indeed it is. From what I know, there's nowhere in the country that does not have the curfew. The only thing about the curfew is that there are certain services and people that are exempt. If you want to check that out, I did make the post about it in my channel. Let me see here. Let me see. A little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. All right, there it is. So I made the post over here. These are the sectors that are excluded from the restriction of free transit. If you guys want to check that out, it's on my community tab. Earlier when I went out to see where my dad was, I saw that my mom was on the phone. I think she's also reporting to family who is in the States to make sure everything is okay. WTC, I am coming to Manta on January 23rd, flying into MEC for 12 days. Guess I have to make a decision late next week. Yeah, try to see how the situation starts developing right now, and little by little make a final decision based on how you see things in the end. Your decision is going to be mainly influenced on what happens today and these following days, because I know things aren't going to get better immediately, but it's like we have to see if the situation gets better, if it gets worse, if there's some time that it gets worse, because the timeline could be something like this. Like right now we're at probably the lowest point or one of the lowest points, and it could even keep going lower or stay low. And then as the criminals are being taken out, they're being like removed, put in jail correctly, then the situation can escalate to get better. And then little by little in the process of, now for the situation to be perfect, it's going to take years, but for the situation, like it'll keep going up little by little, where people will start seeing more people getting arrested, seeing more action taken by the police, until eventually we're just in perfect condition, you know? Well, as perfect as a country can get, of course. It's a very small country. I think there's a media blackout going on down there because my lady in Guayaquil says that she can't even get television access. The internet is acting up down there too. I mean, depends on where you're at. Right now, I mean, I wouldn't be able to live stream if I didn't have internet. But there could be problems in Guayaquil because that's where the news station was centered. So there could be issues over there. Let's see here. Many of the people on this stream are in Ecuador and our internet is fine. Don't know about Guayaquil. Yeah, the problem could be more centered in Guayaquil. in terms of internet problems. In general, there could just be more of a takeover in Guayaquil. That could actually happen. Are the president's moves inspired by Bukele? I don't know, but if I just remembering the video that I saw this morning, it felt like I was watching a video from El Salvador, because he had the people laying down on the floor, shaved heads, and it was like Ecuador is taking action. We're not going to give in to terrorists. So it was an interesting thing, you know. Rick, hello, Sullenberger. TV station in Guayaquil was taken over. Yeah. So it is more reasonable to think that over in Guayaquil, like that's where things are like a little bit worse. But over here, like I said at the beginning of the stream, and like I said during the stream, we still have effects over here as well. Like we've seen people panicking outside. I didn't have work because all the parents canceled. So the situation, even if it's centered mainly in Guayaquil, we're feeling it around the country. So I don't know, does anyone else have any other questions? If not, then I think we can end the stream there. If there's nothing else to talk about, if there's nothing else anyone would like to discuss, I will probably take advantage of this time to go eat my dinner, my one meal a day. I was actually in the process today of editing a video, aside from having to give the classes, and it's a separate video from all of this mess. But with this mess, I had to do this emergency live stream. That's why I'm here. And yeah, I don't know. If there's anything else anyone wants to talk about, please let me know. If not, then we are good. We will say goodbye for today. Now, I guess the final words I can say about the situation and for this stream is I really hope that the country gets better. I really hope that what Daniel Noboa, like, he keeps doing it. Like, if he's doing good things, that he keeps doing it, because I have no idea if in the process of him doing good things, he'll make the situation better. But if he gives in to the demands of the terrorists, then there is no way to know if the situation will ever get better, because we're just going to keep giving in to what the terrorists want, and we're never going to fix anything. So I don't want him to give in if he's really trying to change the country for the better. I want him to try his best, and then once everything is fixed, we'll see. Well, once everything is over, we'll see the results of that. GJ Ortiz, today I'm going to eat carne apanada, which is breaded meat. I'm also going to eat a salad, a bowl of water with lemon and pink salt. Let me see. And these roscas, because I don't think there's anything else I'm going to eat after that. It's already a lot, but I only eat once a day, so that's my meal. I really think the answer is improving the economy. Government can't stop all crime. It simply is not possible. It's a mix. I came in late, Ace. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are that this is necessary. I don't like that it has to be necessary, that people have to be in danger, but it is necessary for things to probably get better before they get worse. Accounting Tom, stay safe, Puerto Viejo. Thank you, Tom. Stay safe, Ecuador, please. Let's ban knives. Oh boy. You should live stream later too, if possible. Darn, I always join these at the end. Sorry, GJ, but hopefully you can make it on Friday stream. Remember, everyone, we have a live stream, special live stream this Friday. The time is set to be at around 3 p.m., but it might vary, might be a little bit later, probably not earlier. But yeah, Friday. Stay tuned for another live stream. If we have any updates on the situation, I will do it on that stream as well. If not, I'll probably do it in a separate stream. Consider becoming a channel member, or consider donating to the channel. I really appreciate it. It helps me make more content like this. Hapian, if you implement libertarian policies, you can improve the economy and make it prosperous enough to where people won't turn. That would be great, but we're just asking for a lot. That's going to take years to change, but I do think that would be a great solution. I understand there are prison guards and military in prisons daily for a long time. What does each faction do to protect the prison? I don't understand this. I'm not really 100% sure either. I just know that the criminals are pretty much, they run the police, they run the jail behind the scenes, and it's hard to really understand because we're not the criminals and we don't know what's happening there. Daniel, keep safe, Ace, signing out. Take it easy, Daniel. Buen provecho. Thank you, GJ. John White, you stay safe as well. Hope everything is good in the UK. Rick, stay safe as well. Everyone, thank you very much for being here. I will see you in the next one. Take care, and as always, Ace out.